This is the 100 Days of Making Comics Challenge, round 4, week 14. But, you know, let's forget about weeks. It's day 100. Greetings, people of the internet. I'm Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. Welcome, mad creators, to the underground laboratory where we create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. We do that in the form of comic books. At least that's what I've been doing for the last 100 days. I've been working on this challenge, working on my comic book. This comic book right here, Young and the Dead. This is the premiere issue. This is the first issue. I have 3 other issues available. I'm working on the 5th one as part of this challenge. But if you want to know about this book, it is called Young and the Dead. It is a kids versus zombie adventure. So if you're into all those old, action adventure films starring kids that took place back in the 80s, Goonies, Monster Squad, Explorer, if you're into more modern stuff, Stranger Things, which does take place in the 80s, but it's a modern interpretation or a modern production of that. If you're into that stuff and you like zombies, even if you don't, I wasn't really a huge zombie fan to begin with before I started this, but I really got into it just because it's really about the story and the characters, and I'm having so much fun with this. And you may dig this too, so you can check that out at serkworks.com. But like I said, I'm working on the next issue, issue number 5, as part of this challenge, the 100 Days of Making Comics Challenge. I'm going to do this one last time. I know that I do this in the beginning of every single one of these videos, so for one last time, for old time's sake, I'm going to tell you what the challenge is about, because this is something that you may want to do if you're finding it's hard for you to carve out the time in your daily schedule to work on your comic book. And there is time, even if it's a little part of your day that you set aside every single day, that stuff adds up, and that's the whole principle behind the 100 Days of Making Comics Challenge. It was started by Kevin Cross way back in the days because, like we were just talking about, he was finding, he wasn't getting his stuff done. So he said, you know what, if I just set aside 30 minutes in a day, every single day for 100 days straight, by the end of that 100 days, it's going to accumulate and I'm going to have quite a bit of work done. So that's the principle behind it. The other thing is that in order to hold yourself accountable, you have to let people know about it. It always helps when you put stuff out in the real world, so they can look and say, hey, did you get this done? We know you're working on this. What happened? Did you drop off? And if you put that out there, you're more likely to be successful in it. So I'm doing that via YouTube here. You can also do that however you want, whether it's on, like a Twitch. You could be on Twitch or a Discord or on Instagram, Facebook, whatever the case is, just as long as you let people know and you give those daily updates. Now, because I've done this a number of times, I've changed mine around a little bit. I'm not doing the daily updates because I've sort of proven to myself, after you've done this 4 times, then it's kind of like, well, I don't know if I have to do it every single day, but in the beginning, definitely you want to do that. So I'm doing weekly updates here on YouTube. This is the final update. I'm at day 100 right now. So, and because of that, I've made some progress on my book that I probably wouldn't have otherwise. And that's why I always keep coming back to this challenge. And sometimes it's like, I don't know if I need to do this challenge again, but I come back to it. It helps to communicate with you guys what I'm working on and everything, give you a little preview, and it helps me get the work done. The other little change to the formula I did was I'm doing more than 30 minutes. I said that I'm going to put in an hour every single day, and I usually do that. One of the first things I do in the morning is I set that time aside, I work on my comic book, I get that done, and then I get on with the other stuff of my day. And in the last episode, I talked about my whole schedule and everything like that. If you're interested in that, you can check that out. Might be something that would help you guys out if you are having trouble finding time to do the stuff that you want to get done in a day. So I'm at day 100. Been doing this for 100 days, a little more than 100 days. There was a little snag where I couldn't do, there were 2 days that I just couldn't do. I talked about that earlier. I'm not gonna rehash all that, but what I did, because I had to stop for those 2 days, I added another week onto it. So total, I put in, I think, like 110 hours into the book. So if you put it this way, and I just want to show you how this will magnify or multiply when you put in this little bit of time in every day, how it adds up. Because not everyone has 8 hours. People got day jobs and busy lives and everything. So a professional comic book artist, you've got hopefully 8 hours a day at least that you can work on your comic book. We don't really, some people don't have that luxury. So in the terms of the average 8-hour day, like I said, I put in 110 hours. That adds up to, that would be, if I put those straight, instead of working 100 days, an hour a day, if those were just 8-hour days, that would be like 13, 14 days thereabouts for a 22-page comic. Now, when you think 13 to 14 days, that's about half of the average month, and that's usually about how long it takes the typical comic artist to complete a book. They're working on a monthly schedule, more or less. A few days, you know, downtime, hopefully you're not working every single day of that month. So that's what I've been working on. So, and I'm talking about not the full, as independent artists, we're pretty much doing everything. We're writing, we're penciling, we're inking. If it's color book, we're coloring. A lot of times that's the case. That's the case with myself anyway. But I'm just right now, also when you equate that to the average, like, artists working for Marvel or DC, they're probably just doing the penciling. Maybe they do pencils and inks in that month-long span that they have to put out in issue. When you equate that to what we've been doing for this 100 days, about halfway there, halfway through that month, and I've already got pencils and inks for, well, let's see where I am with my pages. So the last time I did this challenge and I was trying to surpass that, I think I completed 8 pages and 1 script. So again, we're also writing and stuff. So a lot of what I was doing in the beginning was writing. I wrote not 1 but 2 scripts during this time period. So like I said, most artists working for Marvel or DC, they're not gonna have to write the script and everything too. That could happen, but I'm just giving you a basic idea. So before, when I did the challenge, I completed 8 pages, penciled and inks. Let's see where I am now. So I've got, this is page 1. I've got right over here, I've got page 2. Okay, there's page 3. Got page 4 right here, page 5, page 6. I've redacted something there, a little bit of a spoiler here. Page 7, and where are we here? Page 8 inks, and just last week this week actually, I finished the actual line artwork, or the penciling. It's digital, but it's penciling for page 9. So I surpassed my goal from the last time, which is awesome. That's what I was hoping to do. But the good thing is, like I said, I also have 2 scripts done. I've got the script. I basically finished the whole story for Young and the Dead in script form, and I'm planning on pushing through, because before, I kind of took my time. I feel like I've been really productive. I hit a good stride, putting in an hour a day, and I'm planning to have in another, I think, is it 2 months or a month and a half, to have everything finished, penciled and inked. Of course, after that, there's color and lettering and all that kind of stuff, and compiling it. But I think that's a better system and a better schedule than I've had in the past. It's a little more productive. So I'm definitely happy with where this is going. Now, I'm not going to continue doing these videos. I just wanted to give you a glimpse into how this whole thing works and show you kind of ground floor level how you can, you know, make a lot of progress just putting in that little bit of time in every day. So I don't have 8 hours every day just to dedicate to my personal comic book project. I've got other you know, creative projects that I'm working on and everything, but that doesn't mean that you can't get this stuff done. It's just a little bit at a time, and like we showed, you know, it all adds up. And like I said, not to mention, I did the script in the beginning. Now that the script's done, next time I go through this, I don't have all that, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks that I was working on just the script. Those first 2 or 3 weeks, I think. It might have been more. From now on, it's all drawing. The script is all done, so it's kind of smooth sailing from here. I've laid everything out. I know exactly where everything's gonna go. So now it's just the drawing part. I was gonna say the fun part, although I like the writing too. It's fun for me as well. So as you can see, looking back, I am pretty excited about the progress that I made. There was a little stumbling block there in the beginning, as I mentioned, but all in all, it's been pretty smooth sailing. I've got a lot done. I'm really happy with the work that I produced, and I can just see continuing going forward. I may share bits and pieces of what I'm doing in my other videos. So the other thing I don't really have to worry about is setting up the camera and filming that as much. Like I said, I might film a thing here or two. But there's also a lot of time that goes into putting these videos out and everything. So that's gonna free up a little bit, although I'm still gonna be doing other videos. But so right now it's I'm gonna kind of get in the zone where I'm just going to carry this on out with the comic book and everything like that. But before I do that, I wanna stop, and this is something I wanna talk about in this video, is just stopping to celebrate your wins. Because I don't know about you guys, but I get in this grind where it's just on to the next, I finish something, then it's like, oh, I gotta get on to the next thing. Or I'm not breaking down my goals. Like for instance, one of the things that I do break down is just the fact that I'm publishing these as individual issues. And some people might say, what floppies, why do floppies anymore? Just go for the trade, get the full book. But creating these little benchmarks along the way is really helpful for me because it gives me a little bit of accomplishment. If I finish an issue, like, wow, I finished an issue, now I can get on to the next one. Where if I was working on the whole book, the whole completed version, it would get monotonous, and it would, for me anyway, and it would just be like, when is this, I need something there, I need little wins along the way. So this is sort of a win for me, just hitting this 100 days. Even though the book isn't done, I'm still celebrating because I've done what I set out to do. I've said that I was gonna do these 100 days straight. I did it, and now there's a little bit of a celebration before just moving on to the next thing. And it doesn't matter what it is. So, and sometimes, like I said, I forget about this stuff. And this was pointed out to me by my girlfriend for another project that I'm working on. So I'm working on this project called the Comic Lettering Masterclass. And it's gonna be this digital product. I put up digital products on my website. I've got the Comic Maker Toolkit, the Amazing Comic Book World Builder, the Hero Design Studio, all these digital products. So the one I'm working on right now is called the Comic Lettering Masterclass. And it really is just that. It's a masterclass in how to letter comics, not just the dialogue, but how to use word balloons and caption boxes, how to use special effects and logos, all this stuff. And it's going to be a digital product. The first one's gonna be for Procreate. If it's successful, maybe I'll release it for Adobe or Clip Studio or whatever. But not only is it, it's basically like a textbook, but it also has worksheets and things that you can work on in the program, and brushes and all kinds of stuff like that. And I'm super excited about it. But I finished a major portion of this, and that is that textbook part of it. And it's the first time I've really written a how-to book. And I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just like, okay, that's one part of this grand thing that I'm doing. On to the next thing. And it was pointed out by my girlfriend that, hey, look what you've done. Just stop for a second and celebrate that. So this may seem kind of funny, but what we did was, I was just talking to her on the phone, telling her about this, and she said, wait a minute, stop. You got to celebrate this. We got to have like a dance party. So that's what we did over the phone. And I am not the world's best dancer. And as long as nobody's watching, I do like to dance, but I'm not the world's best dancer. And sometimes when people are watching, I'll do it anyway, because who cares, right? So anyway, I'm like, okay, we'll do this, Well, just a little celebration. I mean, one song, I was thinking, well, what's a good celebration song? And I was like, okay, like Kool and the Gang, Celebrate. But that's a little too on the nose. So I'm like, I like Kool and the Gang, but let's not do Celebrate. Let's do Get Down on It. So I put on Get Down on It, and just over the phone, I couldn't see her because we were just on audio, but she's dancing, I'm dancing in my own, my own studio and everything. And we just had that little bit of a celebration for something. And it really, it's something I wouldn't have done if she wouldn't have pointed that out to me, but it's something that I want to do more of, because you really need to take stock in all these little wins along the way. And it could be you finish a project or whatever, and then you put time into playing a video game that you haven't played for whatever. But I would advise, like for me, I think just the span of a song, just a 4-minute song or whatever, that's enough. It's a time to step back, celebrate, and then move on to the next thing. Because I don't want to get out of that zone too much, I do want to get on to the next part. but I do want to take these little opportunities to just celebrate. So that's something I did, and that's something I want to talk about. We're talking about completing this 100 days challenge, and that's a big thing, and that's why I'm doing this as a celebration, just to put that out there, to show you how excited I am, how happy I am that I've got this far, that I've completed what I set out to do. And now I'm gonna complete this book and get that out to you guys, and I'm so excited for you guys to be able to read this and then get on to the next book now that it's written and everything. So yeah, this has been an amazing ride for me, but it's not stopping here. I still have about 12 or 13 pages plus a cover to complete, and I think my goal is that I get the pencil and inked artwork done by June 12th. That's my goal. So after that, I may pay somebody to do flatting so I don't have to do all that, but that's a major part. But get that coloring underway, so if I do that, it'll be a little quicker, and I'll get the coloring done and then the lettering and then put it all together. So hopefully, definitely this year it will be out. So I'm thinking probably next fall, maybe I'll run a Kickstarter or whatever, but yeah, this book is gonna be out there, and that is one of the quicker turnarounds I've had as an independent artist who isn't working on this stuff full time, that's just working on a little bit here or there. So super excited about that. But beyond this, now that we're wrapping up this 100 days of making comics challenge, still gonna continue on the book, but there's a lot of other things I'm gonna do, and that leads us to kind of what's next with the channel. This challenge has always been centered around, inspiring you, giving you advice on how to create art, whether it's the actual artwork or just the business of art. But now I'm going to be approaching this from a little bit of a different angle. Some of the things that I've learned along the way, recently I've been going through some leadership training and everything. I think it's helping me kind of round out my life, create a more balanced life. I've been talking a lot about that stuff and giving you guys a little insight to some of those things and how you can take those to help you guys out in your art career or just your artwork in general. One of the most important things that I realize is that you are in control of your life. And one of the things I've done in the past was I blamed YouTube's algorithm for everything. Like, why isn't, I just can't, I'm making great videos and everything. Why aren't they getting out to people? And that's something that I can't control the algorithm. But there are things that I can control, and that is, I really need to take a look at my content, what I've been doing, and how can I improve on it? Still delivering what I want to deliver, the art, the advice, all of that stuff that I've been doing, but how can I up my game, or how can I maybe edit it down to make it a little more concise for you guys? I don't know what that entails. That's going to be a learning experience from here, kind of figuring out what works and everything. But I've got a lot of really cool stuff that I want to start sharing with you guys that I think you're going to get a lot of value out of. So stay tuned for that. And like we talked about, these little celebrations and everything. I finished this pretty big thing, 100 Days of Making Comics. Have you guys taken this challenge? Have you done it? Did you take time to celebrate? So if you've accomplished something big, or you've had a win that you want to celebrate it in the comment section. We can all celebrate together. Let me know something you've done that you've just accomplished that you're really proud of. And I mean, I'm proud of this, so that's me putting that out there, but I want to hear from you guys. Put that in the comment section. And that's going to do it for round 4 of the 100 Days of Making Comics Challenge. It is complete. We're checking it off the box. We're celebrating that, but stay tuned for next week. We're going to have an awesome video. I'll see you then. That is all. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Also, you can follow me at Serkworks on social media, and now you can support the work that I do on Patreon. Do you like making comics? Then go to Serkworks.com and pick up the Comic Maker Starter Kit. It's packed full of fonts, brushes, templates, and more. And best of all, it's totally free.